everybody, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am going to be reading two books that my mom picked out for me blindly at Barnes & Noble. I visited her a couple months ago at this point, and when we went to Barnes & Noble, she was like, you should let me pick out a couple books for you, and I said, go ahead. So she blindly went around the store and just picked up two. She does know, she watches my videos, so she knows what I like and knows what I typically read. I also want to say that I am filming this intro like halfway through recording this video, and I am so sad because I just looked back at all of the footage I just filmed this past week, which was some of like the best footage I think that I've like filmed this whole entire year in terms of just consistency and my rating for the book that I completed. And all of it was in slow motion with no audio, and so I am so sad. I don't even know how to change those settings on my camera. I don't even know how I got into those settings. I did reset my camera settings, so it should be working fine now, but I am so sad. So I'll salvage what I can from that portion of when my camera was acting up and just go forward with at least it working right now. So let me show you the two books that she picked out and give you my review of the one that I've already finished. She picked out The Princess Knight by Kate Jacobs and Where We Call Home by Em Hartley. I had never heard of Where We Call Home by Em Hartley. I really didn't know anything about it going into it, and I had been eyeing The Princess Knight for a very long time. I think the cover is just so pretty, and I love the artwork and the art style and the colors. So I was actually really pleasantly surprised when she picked this out. I have not started reading this one yet. I am hoping to start it today. However, I did start and finish Where We Call Home by Em Hartley this week. I started it on Tuesday and I finished it yesterday, which was Friday, and I actually had a pretty good time reading it. I did not know what this book was about going into it, but it does follow a small town in Texas, and it's like an interconnected standalone. There is some like country cowboy romance in this. With this, you follow Theo, and she is more of like a wild child. She moved to the small town after her dad passed away. Her mom to get kind of like a fresh start, but she was always a little bit of an outsider. She did make two friends. She always had a very free spirit, and she has since been traveling around the world being a like nature and landscape photographer. And when she was in, I think, Greece, something happened and now she is pregnant. And so she moves back to the small town in Texas to be closer to her mom. And there she meets Rhodes, who I think she knew in high school, but he has just kind of, not recently, but not too long ago, gotten out of this relationship that was like his high school sweetheart. They were supposed to be together forever, but she ended up leaving him, so he's had to work through a lot of stuff. And him and Theo kind of just meet each other where they're at and just bring out this really nice connection between the two of them. She ends up moving in with him, and they just kind of go from there. I did not know that this would be like a pregnancy trope in this book. I don't necessarily mind it. It's not my favorite trope to read about, but I did actually really like the connection between the two main characters, Theo and Rhodes. I did really also like the cast of characters, they're friends. This is an interconnected standalone, so each book follows a different couple and they're all friends, so you do get to see quite a few of the other characters that have their own books. What I really appreciated with this book, that they really do start out just as friends, and they kind of grow their connection from there, but they're always just there for each other. And you see how Theo is going through this really big transition in her life, and she doesn't necessarily have the best relationship with her feelings and expressing herself and expressing her feelings, but you really do see Rhodes step in and help her talk about things and express how she's feeling, and he pushes her to maybe voice how she's feeling more, especially with her friends who she isn't very comfortable doing that. Kind of falls into the sense of isolation. And so I liked getting to see how Theo, while yes, she does kind of progress into herself, Rhodes was there to help her get out of this and work through this difficult time that she was in. So I really did actually like this. I did settle on a 3.5 star, and I had a really fun time. I thought it was very easy to read. It is on Kindle Unlimited, so I did read it on there. And the other thing, there was like one thing that happened at the end that I was like, boy, come on. But other than that, I did have a really fun time reading it. It was very easy to get through. I have not been reading very fast this year, so start a book on Tuesday and finish on Friday is very good for me. That is all I have to say for now. I'm going to start The Princess Knight today. Hopefully, I do want to go edit a video. So I don't know when I'm going to start this. Hopefully tonight. I don't really have any plans. Just spend like a cozy night and hopefully getting a good chunk through of this, but it is a little bit, it's not like too thick, but it is like, I think, oh, it's like 500 pages. So, wish me luck. Hello, and I have started my way into The Princess Knight by Kate Jacobs, and I am 168 pages in chapter 15. This is how much I have left to go. I don't know how I feel so far. I feel just kind of like neutral about it. Like I'm not super invested, but I'm not like disliking it either. The main female character did give me some secondhand embarrassment. I have also started the audiobook because I feel like I'm going to maybe struggle a little bit to get into this. I think the cover is so pretty and I like the premise, but I just don't know if I'm crazy about the execution so far. I feel like I want more tension and more like yearning, and right now it's just kind of like very friendly-ish. So I'm hoping, I don't know if it will get any better in that department. I'm hoping to stay focused and try to continue listening to the audiobook and hopefully finish this by the weekend. Hi guys, it is like late at night. I got back from a walk not long ago, but I haven't updated my progress in a couple days of The Princess Knight by Kate Jacobs, and I am on page 361, chapter 31. This is how much I have left. I have mostly been listening to the audiobook of this. I just had a little bit of trouble getting into it. I actually don't remember how far I got into it before I started, but I did start out slow with the audiobook. I think at just like 1.2 times speed, and I'm up to like 1.8, so I have like slowly worked my way up to it. Definitely think that the overall kind of lore of this world is interesting, but I don't necessarily feel as though I have any super strong tie or connection to the romance itself. I do find Clea a little bit cringy at times, but I overall think it's admirable that she's trying to do good for her country through a way in which she knows, and she is making progress in her like knight journey. But I think my other thing is when I'm listening to it, at least in like the training scenes, you know, they're saying that they're waking up every day early, training, like putting in the work before class and everything, but it never like fully, I mean, at least maybe I'm just not remembering a very like traditional like training scene. So it's just like, yeah, now she's magically better at fighting, and it's like, yeah, I know that you were training before, like waking up early and everything, but it just, I want more description. This is standalone, so I'm interested to see how it's going to end. 480 some, like 490 pages, so I have like 130 pages left. I'm really hoping to finish this tomorrow. I have 3 hours and 46 minutes left of the audiobook, so I'm hoping to finish it tomorrow. I think I wish I liked this more than I actually do. Hi everybody, and I have some updates. Yesterday I successfully finished The Princess Knight by Kate Jacobs, and I wanted to sit with my thoughts and my rating and my review, and I think I'm going to settle at around a 2.75 to a 3. I don't necessarily know how much I liked this book. I did kind of struggle to get into it, so I did decide to listen to the audiobook, and I think the audiobook did help get through it. I think it did a good job of setting up a good kind of atmosphere. I definitely did listening to it, and maybe it was the narrator's voice. She does have, I think it's either an Irish or a Scottish accent, helped me kind of like immerse into the story, but I think there were other things a part of this story that took me out at times and that I just didn't really fully enjoy. I did not know going into it that this is actually a Legally Blonde medieval retelling. And so the whole premise is that Clea, who is this princess of this territory, and her parents are very neglectful leaders. They really just want to stay to themselves, and they just want to have their own little parties. They don't really care about anything else that's going on. They're not even really like leaders. They just kind of delegate tasks, like all the important tasks, to other people. And so Clea has this unspoken agreement with Domhnall, who is a prince of a neighboring country, and they are basically going to get married. It's not really fully set in stone. It's never fully discussed. It's kind of just mutually unspoken until eventually the time comes for him to propose, and he's like, I can't marry you. You're too weak. You would not be a good leader. I can't represent my country by marrying you because they'll just view us as weak now. She does not like this. She takes this very personally, and he is going off to this academy that is supposed to be very, very strict, very, very difficult to stay in, and Clea has like a workaround and is able to get into the academy as well, and she decides to basically go there to win him back. And then along the way she meets Ronan, who is his best friend and captain of the guard. He ends up kind of helping her, train her and everything, and they develop a relationship. And there also is this whole other plot line with a neighboring country somewhere that is trying to take over. Some of the things were a little bit confusing. I would not say the world building was the best. I think my main problem with this being like a romantasy is I personally never felt the romance or the connection or any type of chemistry. And when it came to them, you know, declaring their love for each other, I just never felt it. I'm like, yeah, you guys have like been hanging out, but I'm just like, I didn't feel any connection or chemistry, so it just felt hard for me to buy into that. However, I did really enjoy getting to see the friendships that Clea made. I think that it was nice getting to see her kind of open up to people and just have a support system. I guess this felt a little young to me. I did watch one of the author's videos, and she said that she wrote it to be YA, but it got picked up or bought as a adult book, and that's how it's, you know, sold and marketed now, but she kind of thinks of it as a bridge between YA and adult. But it did feel very young to me. At times Clea did feel very childish, and then some of the things with like, I guess maybe the way in which the story was told, like the training scenes, all of a sudden she's a great fighter now. But I really was just like, okay girl. Never really feel like I got to see her progression in that as much as I would have liked to maybe make it more believable. I just don't even like, I feel like this was a lot of nothing at times, and certain things I think were very predictable. So I don't know. I think the cover is beautiful and gorgeous, and I think the premise was there. Like if I read the back, I'm like, wow, this is right up my alley. This is great. But I just don't think I necessarily loved the execution of it. So I just think at times, like especially when we're getting towards the end, it is left a little bit open-ended. Like there is a kind of conclusion. Some things are kind of closed a little bit, but then like certain things are left open. And I did see a video of the author saying that she kind of did that on purpose. To me, it felt a little unsatisfying to have it that way. Those were the 2 books that I read in this video. My mom picked them out for me, so I'm very grateful that she did that. I had fun reading them. I especially had fun reading. I think of the 2, I definitely did enjoy Where We Call Home a little bit more. I thought it was a little bit more fun to read, and I just was a little bit more invested in it. But The Princess Knight is a book that was on my TBR for a really long time. So I'm glad that I was finally able to read The Princess Knight, because I was eyeing it for a long time. So it did give me an excuse to finally read it. And to my mom, thank you for picking these out and getting them for me. So I had a lot of fun, and if you guys have read either of these, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!